They came in about 1,000 years ago. Given that we've been worshiping now for over 2,000 years, that means that they're sort of midway. And the origin of the bells comes from a couple of factors that developed in Christian worship around the year 1000. A couple of things. One of which is that the language of the people and the language of communion, the words of the Eucharist, no longer matched. Latin was being used, but the vast majority of people did not speak Latin. And so they did not know what was happening in the service itself. So in order to encourage people to know the important parts, bells were introduced. And this became all the more important around the year 1000 when people started, for a variety of reasons, to not be receiving communion the way that we do regularly. And in fact, at times, some people only receive communion perhaps once in their whole lifetime. And communion, this didn't mean they didn't go to church, but communion was visual rather than participatory. You looked at communion. And in order for people to know when to look, the bells were introduced. And the first series of bells, we hear 3 rings, and here we have 2 sets of bells. About 500 years ago, the need for the bells disappeared within our tradition because A, we started to use English for the words, and B, we started to receive communion again, and it became less and less visual. But nevertheless, the bells are here, and that's the background on this. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.